And this is my conclusion. I've got no evidence for this whatsoever. But I think the ANC gets funded by these rogue regimes. I think they get funded by Iran. I think they get funded by Russia.
Back once again, this is Chris Report, and he assured me that since Simonstown and Boulders. Folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa.
Seriously, Helen? Stealing my analysis and talking points now? How desperate is the Democratic Alliance to distance itself from its government and national unity partner, ANC? Seriously, folks, on October 29th, 2024, DA federal chair, former party leader, Cape Town mayor, and Western Cape premier Helen Zille fired for effect, laying it all out during a South Africa Chamber of Commerce UK roundtable. Now, video is available at the link below, where nearly 7,000 have already viewed it on their 670 subscriber channel on YouTube. Now, funny thing, prior to the ANC running to the International Court of Justice to claim genocide by Israel, I and a few other analysts publicly raised the likelihood that, given its bizarre anti-democratic foreign policy positions, it would appear the African National Congress does the bidding of Moscow, Tehran, and Beijing, all rogue regimes that are out of the international norm in their conduct. Now, why would the ANC act that way? The answer is simple: money. In many cases, the ANC's long, reliable, big-pocket domestic donors have dried up as the country continues to descend into the abyss. Now, isn't it strange how no South Africa-based media seems to want to ask the most obvious question here, which I asked last year repeatedly and throughout this year? How did the African National Congress come up with 103 million rand to pay off their election debt from 2019 in December of 2023, when they were about to have all their possessions foreclosed on after the sheriff went and documented the physical assets of the ANC at Luthuli House? They suddenly came up with that money after a visit to Tehran. Coincidence or Joe incidents, as Chandler would say? Where did the 20 million rand for the 112th birthday bash for the ANC come from in January? Or the money for the 2024 election campaign? Publicly available data on funding shows an amount insufficient to pay for the campaign which they conducted in 2024. So where did that coin come from? Abroad. Was it the theocracy in Tehran, the communist fascist in Beijing, or the tyrant in Moscow, or maybe all of them?
I think they have such a connection with these rogue regimes for funding and everything else that that's what they do.
Now, refusing to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine at the UN, screaming vaccine apartheid while not making any effort to develop a vaccine, and then taking $713 million from the United States and the European Union to make COVID jabs, yet delivering zero. Not joining the Gambia's genocide case against Myanmar in the ICJ, but filing a bogus claim against Israel.
I don't think that the International Court of Justice was an initiative by the South African government. I think it was a quid from Iran.
Hosting the People's Liberation Army, Navy, and the sanctioned Russia warships for maritime exercise, and the list goes on and on and on of these affronts to international norms. South Africa's foreign policy under Cyril Ramaphosa has been one that looks the other way at slaughter in China, Myanmar, Sudan, Somalia, the Sahel, while remaining silent and instead attacking its far too generous Western trading partners and donors. Folks, Helen Zille has thrown a monkey wrench into the works of the government of national unity, or a spanner in the works, as Brits and Safists prefer to say. Fikile Mbalula is no doubt at this hour getting text messages explaining to him what he's supposed to say and do next.
There was one portfolio that the ANC obsessively had to control, and that was international relations. They were absolutely obsessive. You can have anything except that. Get a whole lot of stuff by using that leverage, you know. But I couldn't work out why they were so obsessively needed to have international relations.
As an aside, I've noticed a lot of folks in South Africa who dismiss my analysis only later to be proven incorrect, then pivot their position and claim that they have the same projection all along. Folks, the difference is there's a record. My content backs up my predictions time and again. Now, Helen Zille freely offered to come on my program nearly 4 years ago during a Zoom session which I was a participant in. I didn't solicit her coming out. I just mentioned I've been trying to reach her. She freely offered to come on the program 4 years ago, but she never did. I have to wonder who exactly is listening to my analysis and sharing it with her. or is she a viewer? If so, Helen, thanks for the viewership. Be sure to subscribe as well, and I once again offer you the floor. You are welcome to come on my program and discuss this subject or any other at any time. Well, there you have it, folks. Helen Zille calls out the ANC's funding sources, in which at this point is pretty obvious to anyone paying attention. We have no evidence except magically appearing cash, and the ANC able to do things that they have no money for. So the money must be coming from somewhere. It's certainly not coming from Louis Liebenberg. His money was going to Jacob Zuma. And they have the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would once say. God bless.